The Buccaneers have found another secret weapon, and this one might surprise you. After four straight games of having some up and down, really crazy finishes, the Bucs are now kind of wondering where are our strengths and where are our weaknesses. They have an identity, of resiliency, but now they're wondering, okay, who can we rely on, and who are the ones that we have to really worry about. I'm Sebastian with Buccaneers Digest, and this is going to be an interesting dive into what I think a lot of people aren't really talking about right now, but also something that could be really useful and helpful down the road, knowing, okay, is this a strength or not? But first, subscribe, guys. Make sure to subscribe. We're building a really great community here. I'm very grateful for everyone who's already on the subscription, but a lot of viewers who are watching aren't even subscribed, so that's okay. Just gotta hit the bell, hit the button, join Bucs Digest, all that good stuff. We'll be doing a stream this Sunday, 4:05 p.m. Eastern, for the Bucs Seahawks game. It's going to be awesome. They'll be doing our throwbacks. It'll be a gorgeous looking game, and hopefully the Bucs will come out with a win. Even with all the injuries, obviously the Bucs still have a chance. There's a lot of folks who are still picking the Bucs, rightfully so. So it'll be a big game, big game. Baker versus Sam Darnold, former Panther teammates Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. But let's just jump into it. Who are we talking about? Well, none other than Josh Grizzard. He has really been an interesting tentpole of this team where, after losing Liam Cohen in a weird situation where he had signed back on with the Bucs to be our offensive coordinator, extended to be our coordinator, and then he snuck away to go to Jacksonville. We were like, okay, what's next? Once again, Baker's going to be having a new offensive coordinator. He hasn't had a consecutive same coordinator at any point in his career, no matter where he's been. And this is his third season with the Buccaneers and third offensive coordinator, first with Dave Canales, then Liam Cohen, and now Josh Grizzard. Now, I do think that Grizzard has shown a lot of promise and a lot of good things, and he is also implementing a lot of what Liam Cohen was doing last year. They call it, all the players keep calling it the same system, that it's very similar stuff, terminology, all that stuff. So overall, it's not a huge change from last year. Now it's just a matter of situationally, is Josh Grizzard, play calling the right stuff? Is he really, up to the task for these situations and putting players in their best positions to succeed? And I would argue yes. It's just that the problem is, the reason why maybe the Bucs haven't been scoring as much as we'd want them to, as much as they were last year, at least to start out, is the fact that the offensive line, all the injuries, has been a major point of frustration, and it's really held the team back quite a bit. Baker's been sensational considering all the limitations, but the offensive line, everything starts in the trenches. All the guys will tell you that, and that has been easily our most decimated area, and of the league, not just on the team. And Baker will be the first one to tell you that's really been a hard thing to overcome. He had to say, when you don't have the continuity with the players, it's a little difficult. Especially it starts up front with the rotating guys we've had. Hopefully, going into this week, having the same group, we'll be able to handle that better. Some miscommunications, a lot of them. You go back to the Jets game. I don't know how many third downs, penalties killed us. A lot of shooting yourself in the foot and making sure you're on the same page as the game plan. Baker is so right here. It's the fact that, you can have a game plan, but if, it's a bunch of new guys who've just joined the team and, are literally basically, thrown out there to just do their best, you're going to be limited play calling wise. There's going to be some stunts, some play actions, just a lot of plays you're not going to be able to do because people always just assume with play calling, it's just, oh, this receiver runs this route. This receiver's told to block this one for a running play. Or, it's not as straightforward as that. Every single position group needs their own signal. They need to be told what to do on that play. When they give all these crazy names and numbers and letters and references when they're calling those play, you know what I'm talking about. They're like double X, Y, Z, rabbit foot, la-da-la-da-la-da. That all those things are signals to different position groups. They're telling what the offensive line is supposed to be doing, what the receivers, running backs, tight ends, all that stuff. They're kind of telling everybody what they need to be doing, where they need to be positioned, and you can't tell an offensive line to learn an entire playbook in a few days. Now with Tristan Wirfs back, it does help immensely, and we're hoping that the same group that was there on Philly that kept Baker relatively untouched. Well, he had to scramble a lot, but that's kind of his thing. And, he only got sacked a few times. Now, we don't want him to get sacked at all, but it's just the nature of fate going up against really good defenses and good coordinators. Vic Fangio is one of the best defensive coordinators in the league, and I think the Bucs and their offensive line did well, all things considered. We're missing our right tackle still, Luka Decky. We're missing our right guard, and Cody Mock. So there's still, some missing pieces there that we've kind of had to adjust to, and even our backups are getting injured as well. So that's what Baker's talking about. It's literally been all 4 weeks has been a new setup of offensive linemen, and that's probably lent to some special teams miscues. Now, that's not all that's there. I mean, our special teams coordinator has had problems in the past with blocked punts and kicks, and we'll talk about that in a different video. But it's just the line play in general where they themselves haven't played that badly. Besides, the Jets game, the first half was really, really rough. But overall, they've been, doing well with their circumstances. And we're hoping now that we'll maybe have continuity for once and actually have the same guys who are playing in their positions in the Eagles game will play the same way or play at those same positions for the Seattle game. It'll be the first time from one week to the next week where they'll actually be in the same position. And that means that they'll be able to be a little bit more familiar with the play calls that'll be going on, where they're supposed to be, less communication, less penalties, hopefully. So, it's going to be loud in Seattle, so communication is going to be on silent count probably, but it's still a huge factor into this. And so a lot of people are going to be, from the outside, not looking in, wondering, okay, maybe Grizzard isn't as good as Liam Cohen. He's not calling plays as well. When Baker's really making it clear that's not the case at all. He has been severely limited, which is the receiver. See, once Mike Evans goes out, that changes how you're scheming your receivers around, because Mike Evans, one of the greatest receivers of all time, teams are double teaming him quite a bit. They are looking at him as a vertical threat. They're adjusting their safeties. They're adjusting their linebackers. They're adjusting their corners to how they're playing Mike Evans, and then the rest they have to deal with on their own, just in a different way. But once Mike Evans is not in the game, that changes how they go. They still respect our receivers, no doubt, but they're able to play a bit differently. So it's just all I think what Baker's saying is give Grizzards a chance here to really kind of, or give him some credit for the fact that we're 3-1 and we've adjusted around a lot of this crazy stuff. We have 2 wins on the road. We're trying to get our third. We're trying to be 3-0 on the road right now against Seattle. And, our only loss is to the defending champs in a really close game. So I think that people really vastly underestimate how much that we've had to overcome and how much that we're going to be pushing through right now. Grizzard, his first year calling plays, the Lions last year, they were dealing with a lot of injuries, especially on the defensive side, but even on the offensive side. But Ben Johnson is, one of the best play callers in the league, and he had been there for years with the Lions. This is, once again, similar system to Liam Cohen's, but that doesn't mean, Grizzard shouldn't get, some at least leeway with us as fans and just the league in general, saying, listen, this guy is doing his best. He is having to work with basically a makeshift offense every single week, having to put pieces together. You put a puzzle together, it gets broken apart, pieces don't fit anymore. It's just constant change, and I really want to applaud him for just the way that he's been working through a lot of this. But next, I kind of want to talk about is the fact that Josh Grizzard says that they've been placing an emphasis on pushing the ball down the field all the way since the spring. They just need to hit on some of them to put pressure on the defense. So a lot of the plays that we've seen, it's been, a lot of the scoring drives that we've seen this year has been, methodically driving down the field, using our running backs and dumping it off in the check down, dumping off in the flats. The tight ends have really not been utilized much at all. People are worried about Cade Otton regressing, especially when he's in a contract year trying to earn an extension with the Buccaneers. I'm not too worried about it just yet. It just feels like a lot of the plays aren't designed to go to him yet. Just because we've had so much going on. I would expect this week, though, to be possibly a big tight end week for Cade Otton with Bucky Irving possibly not playing. You're just, we're going to need different aspects, guys that don't have too much tape from this season, and using them in ways that might surprise the Seattle's defense. But overall, I do think that it's good that, they were talking about emphasizing pushing things downfield. You want to keep their safeties on their heels and, playing 2 back so we can have a good run game. 2 safeties back, that is. The further back they are, the more room, less players, up front the Buccaneers have to deal with when they're trying to run the ball, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what they're talking about. Mike Evans not being in this game is going to change how they're, just like the Eagles game, they're not going to be as scared as for the deep threat. And the Bucs were able to kind of take advantage of that against the Eagles, where the deep ball to Ibuka, first of all, amazing throw by Baker, and then the throw to Bucky Irving that was right down the sideline, one-on-one coverage. Also another great play, great improvisation and rolling out, keeping just great throws on the run. But that's the thing is, like, we're going to have to be testing them vertically with players that you might not be as used to seeing on, like, deep throws. I actually, when I was at training camp, there was a really cool Bucky Irving, deep ball. Surprisingly, he's pretty good at that stuff. We saw it in the preseason against the Steelers, had a great touchdown catch. So he's been really useful in that. But if he doesn't play, that means we're going to have to rely on other guys to be deep threats. We don't have Jalen McMillan back. Mike Evans is still out. Hopefully he'll be back for the 49ers game. But for now, it's going to be Chris Godwin. It's going to be Ibuka as our two main receivers, which is not bad by any means. It's still a lot better of a receiver situation than most teams in the NFL. But the tight ends are probably going to be used a lot more. And then without Bucky Irving, that's going to make Sean Tucker really have to step up, and Rachaad White, obviously. Rachaad White being in a contract year, he's going to want to really prove what he can do with the situation where he's going to be the starting running back. He'll be the main cowtail, or anyway, you know what I mean. He'll be doing a good bit of the load carrying for the running back area for this game, and I do believe in him. I think that guys like the challenge. They like to really prove what they can do, and as long as we keep limiting the turnovers, I think that will be really, really important in this game, because once again, just it's been the story of a lot of Bucs games when we go up against good, talented teams, teams with winning records. The teams that win the turnover battle typically win the game. That's just how it usually goes in football, and how it's been for the Buccaneers. But regarding just another really, really cool thing that was announced today, Emeka Egbuka was announced as the Offensive Rookie of the Month. No real surprise here, but it was really, really cool to see that officially announced, and that is once again thanks to Josh Grizzard and the way that they've been scheming it up. They really talk about him like he's not even a rookie anymore, that they can really just treat him like he's a veteran. He understands like all so many different aspects of the game. He questions the intangibles. He's asking questions both to the coaches, to the other players, to veterans. And Buccaneer alums who have been here in the past. He's just constantly trying to pick people's brains, and it's really paying off really, really well. And he, once again, is going to be a major factor with Mike Evans out. We're going to need another big game out of him to have a chance to win this game. And Baker's going to be throwing to him quite a bit. So fantasy people, make sure to keep him on your starting lineup, which I don't doubt most people will be doing that. And but I do want to say that this is also thanks to Josh Grizzard and the way that they've been to scheme him open and really just trust him with a lot of the routes and not treating him like a rookie like they could have. And then regarding the running back situation, because there was a situation where Skip Peete, the running backs coach, he actually had a medical episode at training camp on Wednesday where he was taken to the hospital. He's still there being evaluated. And we all, want the best for him, make sure that he comes back when he feels healthy and good to go. But Greg Auman reported that Bucs offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard and QB coach Blaine Stewart has run meetings with the running backs in the running back coach's absence. And several coaches have helped during out practice. I really like just the amount of effort that, Grizzard's been putting into just all aspects of the offense. He's not just being like, okay, I'm going to choose this guy over here, QB coach. You just work with the running backs mostly. No, he is personally going and really trying to do what he can to help the running backs be situated with the game plan, understand everything that's going on. And all the other coaches really, taking that leadership and going with it as well. They're pitching in as well, so the running backs don't feel left out this week. Rachaad White still feels supported, Sean Tucker still feels supported, and anyone else that we're bringing in to help the running back room this week, they all feel supported and feel like they are on the same page as everyone else without their coach this week. So it's just one of those things. We all hope Pete's going to be okay, but It's really good. Just once again, another aspect of his game to show that Josh Grizzard just stepping up in leadership aspects. Then Bailey Adams and Pewter Report had to say, just regarding the injury woes and what we've had to work through, they said that despite the injury woes, though, the Bucs have managed to fight through to a 3-1 start with clutch play from Mayfield, the emergence of wide receiver Emeka Egbuka, and some all-around fundamentally sound play from Todd Bowles' defense. A win on Sunday could go a long way for this group, as it would mean a 3-0 start on the road and set them up at a 4-1 ahead of another home game at Raymond James Stadium against the 49ers. And that's just kind of what I really want to emphasize is that this is a huge game. The Eagles game was a litmus test, but now it's a way for the Buccaneers to really get things back on track by solving this October problem that we've had, this midseason problem where we usually have our winning droughts. It's time to get over that, and I'm sure they're emphasizing that this week. And then Grizzard said that they have all the confidence in the world that both Rachaad White and Sean Tucker, if they have to take bigger roles, should Bucky Irving miss Sunday's game, they may tailor some things to those guys if Irving isn't available. So they're already prepping for the situation and how those guys will be implemented into the plan. And if Bucky's ready to go, then even better. But we don't want to have to force him back because I do trust these guys. And their ability to help win this game. I don't think that, our running back room is cooked by any means. I think Rachaad is a wonderful running back too, and Sean Tucker is probably one of the best running back threes in the league. So those guys stepping up into those RB1 and RB2 spots, I don't think is going to be a huge drop-off. Bucky Irving, you can't be replaced ever. But in the end, I do trust, what they're going to do for their plan-wise because they have different skill sets. And it's not just running backs, they run, they try and get as many yards as possible. No, I mean, these guys are all good at different things. Rachaad White, one of the better pass blocking running backs in the league. So typically on a lot of pass plays, he'll be in there either to disguise a pass or to actually block. But he's really good at taking checkdowns and going off with them. But Seattle will be ready for that. And it's just a matter of can Rachaad White make the plays, make guys miss, and really be as physical as possible to really help our guys get first downs and get downfield. Maybe have some explosive plays like Bucky Irving, so that we can get to a win. But overall, the question is for you guys: how do you feel about Josh Grizzard's performance so far through 4 weeks? Where is your confidence level in him from 1 to 10? Are you giving him some leeway? Just because, listen, we know that we haven't had explosive starts yet to games, as we've mentioned, as Baker's mentioned, and Todd Bowles has mentioned. But, there's just been so much that the offense has had to adjust to this year that I can't blame them for really having to figure things out. The Texans game, we actually started off really strong, and people don't really remember that one. Atlanta, we started out slow, but then figured things out. And then the Jets, it was just kind of for the most part, it started pretty good, but then we ended not as good, but still had a game-winning drive. That was more of a complete game from the offense, despite all the penalties because of the offensive line situation. Eagles, though, once again, not starting off fast. So I want to ask you guys, do you think that this might be a problem about starting off slow because of Josh Grizzard, or do we think it's because, like we've talked about, the injuries, the rotations, everything just being kind of like a new lineup every single week? I know I'm kind of leading the question here a little bit, but that's just kind of how I'm seeing it and how it feels, from just the way that people are talking about, the offense. And, they're all being accountable. They're not making excuses by any means. But at the same time, I feel like I have a lot of confidence in the way that Grizzard is running this offense. I'm not really worried about the play calling just yet. They're setting up their guys to succeed, putting them in good situations to succeed. It's just a matter of can our players, with all the injuries that we have, can they match up to other teams that are healthier than us and still get out a win? So tell me what you think about Josh Grizzard, your confidence level, all that good stuff in the comments below. We'll talk about it there. And then probably tomorrow, or we'll see when, but we'll talk about the special team situation because that's just something that's been developing all week. And I know people want some questions answered, but I was kind of waiting to see how the week went before I really made a video on it, just to make sure we all knew what was going on going into the Seattle game. But anyway, remember, we're doing a live stream this Sunday. Be there for that. Make sure your notifications are on and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next video.